So Dad calls me up the other day. He says, Sid, what's the deal with social media? We're on Facebook, but are there others? Are there other forms of social media? Yeah, Pop, there are others. So before Aunt Nancy and everybody else asked me the same question, I figured I'd make a video to tell you all about this at once. Here's your guide to social media in 2021. So let's start here at the bottom and work our way up back to the top. And hopefully by the end you can decide which platforms will work for you and Aunt Nancy over there. First, a few notes. Poop post. So what's a poop post? I can't use the real name, but you know the S word. You know what I'm talking about. Poop posts are obviously false facts, alternative facts, fake news, whatever you want to call them. Social media is really the breeding ground for troublemakers. So always think critically when reading anything on any social media platform. And don't make poop posts. 2, trolling. Making negative statements for no other reason other than harm someone's reputation or maybe hurt someone's feelings. People love to troll people on social media because there's really zero accountability if you think about it. So you can't ignore it, so you can't avoid it, so learn to ignore it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's the best way to handle it, because trolls feed off your energy. So you try to respond to them, talk back to them, they're just going to troll you harder, so ignore them and they'll go away. Copy pasta or copy pasta, however you want to say this. What's this? People routinely copy other people's posts, maybe from years ago and you don't remember it, and they post it as their own. So you'll see this a lot on every platform. It's basically people trying to look smarter than they are without quoting the original source. And that happens all the time. So, don't take everything at face value. Realize that somebody else may have wrote what your friend supposedly wrote before, and it may not be valid. Maybe it wasn't valid when it was posted. It's still not valid. Things don't change that quickly. Number 4, assume no one is really who they say they are. It's easy to spoof, what they call spoof or fake, a social media account. So before doing any financial transactions or social arrangements, always test people and verify their identities, especially when you're selling small and expensive portable electronic devices. I haven't been punked yet, but I carry a gun just in case. Number 5, weak-minded people. You know who I'm talking about. They become addicted, literally addicted to social media. Seriously, it's a psychological condition. And social media has been known to replace real-world friends. We really don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess for some people it's a good thing, for some people it's a bad thing. So just be aware that you may begin to avoid your real social circles and exchange them for social media friends. And we don't know how that's going to pan out. All right, so let's talk about the social media platforms. First of all, there's Reddit. Think people who own cats, introverted, a little weird, super nerdy. And Reddit is interesting because it's the least cool of all the socials. It's comprised of, really, if you think about it, all the kids you hated in high school who now own cats and are extremely angry and jaded adults. You know who I'm talking about. You know the type. The know-it-alls, the extreme do-gooders, the brainiacs with no friends, the scholastic bullies who thought they were always right. Really, Reddit, when you think about it, is kind of an anti-social social network. So Reddit is really the perfect opportunity or social network for keyboard bullies. These are people who sit behind a keyboard and bully people because you can't find them. It's acceptable on Reddit to be completely anonymous. They actually encourage it. There's little to no account verification, so you can set up as many accounts as you want and then dine and dash. My guess is from observing content and attitude on Reddit, users are mostly male, young, and a lot of them are entitled, just based on what I've read so far on Reddit. But that's exactly why it shines. Now, there are 0 selfies tolerated on Reddit. We'll talk about selfies later. As a matter of fact, they make fun of selfies. And the truth seems to float to the top using Reddit's own user rating system. So you'll be penalized and you'll lose something called karma. And these are, they're account-specific likes that are aggregated, and they also have a negative option too. So your karma can fluctuate, it can go up and down. And obviously you want as much positive karma as you can. Now if you poop post, there's that word again, things that are false or useless, you're going to get negative karma, and it's going to bring your overall user average down. And that's not a good thing. Positive account karma gives you posting privileges and some semblance of respect on Reddit. And forget about trying to sell or promote anything. Self-promotion is just, it seems to be absolutely forbidden everywhere on Reddit, even if it's useful. I think it's kind of stupid, but it is what it is. Now, there are literally millions of subreddits with categories ranging from anime to sports to computers to cooking to gardening to politics to news. Just about anything you could ever think about is going to be in a subreddit somewhere on Reddit. The subreddit names begin with R. We'll show you that too. Now, here's the thing. Users on Reddit include thousands of anonymous scientists, doctors, government officials, and actually several real mainstream reporters who will post a news story before it breaks in mass media in an effort to earn more karma. Yeah, they want more karma. So you're more likely to find breaking news on Reddit first. And it's almost always legit. It trickles down from Reddit to other social medias. So I used to use Facebook for news, but now I'm completely Reddit for all my news because I get it there first. And now I look like the smartest kid on the block because I've heard that 2 days before it hits the mass media. Sometimes it's longer. It's crazy how long the difference is. Now, as far as advertisements, people ask if there are ads on Reddit. Yeah, they're easily skippable. You can scroll right past them. Now, the thing is that most Reddit users will proudly brag that they don't watch any ads. Well, that's not really good for the business because it's advertising supported. That's not my problem. There's a paid version of Reddit that supports the cause but skips ads, but hardcore Reddit users will make fun of you if they found out you're paying for Reddit, so don't do it. There's also an Indian wannabe American copy of Reddit called Quora with a Q, and they use questions and answers as its format rather than posts. It's not very well vetted at all, and a lot of the information there is silly and false, but you might find some cool astronomy information there if that's your thing. So Reddit, due to its karma system, seems to be much more honest and legitimate than Quora. All right, bouncing down to the next social media platform, President Trump and the Kardashians' favorite, Twitter. Twitter became famous by limiting its tweets to about 140 characters back in the day, so it forced people to really edit their thoughts to smaller and more concise sentences, so they were easier to digest. You could read a lot more stuff with 140 characters than somebody who writes these paragraphs of nonsense and fluff. So the limit has since been expanded, and there's a lot more junk on Twitter now. Still not a bad thing, still a little more concise than some of the other platforms. Now, Twitter users seem to be a step up from Facebook, meaning most are really more serious about their careers or their celebrity. They might be news anchors. You'll see a lot of politicians, business leaders, and others who have messages that most people think are important. News-wise, after a story anonymously breaks on Reddit, it kind of filters down to Twitter. After some mild vetting, there's either a tweet, which is a post, or a comment on a popular tweet. Now, since Twitter has these likes or hearts that value individual posts and are not counted towards a user's overall profile, like Reddit, there are many more poop posts on Twitter than there are on Reddit. And a lot of it on Twitter, that is a lot of self-promotion. A lot of self-promotion on Twitter. So you're going to get a lot more junk on Twitter. But in exchange, there's a larger number of users on Twitter, and it requires a certain degree of verification. So Twitter users develop followers, which is Twitter's sign of credibility. Supposedly, the more followers you have, the more popular you are. Twitter followers can be easily purchased or faked, although Twitter is getting smarter about the fakes and deleting many of the fake accounts. So again, it's not as easy to be anonymous on Twitter, but you can still do it. They do require some sort of verification. Moving up the food chain, we roll up to Instagram. Sometimes they call it Insta, short, because we can't pronounce entire words in English anymore. Now owned by Facebook, we're beginning to see these two platforms begin to merge with combined account posts and paid promotions. So who uses this? Basically, it's insecure teenage girls. They use Instagram to post selfies for self-validation. You know, selfies are pictures you take of yourself, usually with that strange fish face. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. So people like posts on Instagram as well, and the number of followers builds your popularity or so-called credibility. But to be honest, due to the inflexibility of the platform not being able to share hyperlinks with web pages, I really don't see much that's useful on Instagram. You can't really click on a news story that'll take you to the news story because there's no hyperlinks on Instagram. You really see a picture and some text, and that's all you see, and you can't do anything with it. So If you're a serious adult, you're probably not going to find much useful on Instagram. If you're bored out of your skull and want to watch people try to look silly or pretty, try it out. Otherwise, personally, I think it's kind of boring. Now, unless you're into hairstyles, art, or crafts, Pinterest seems to be another waste of time. Users share pictures or links or pages that they think are interesting, and that's about it. It's helpful for cooking, too, to find recipes. You find a lot of that stuff there, but it's never usually original. It's something that's clipped from a website or something else that leads to the place. So at least it goes somewhere on Pinterest, but not a lot of news, just a lot of people posting their own personal junk out there. Snapchat, you probably heard of that before. Really still only used by teens who want to send secret or obscene messages to each other. It's quickly fallen off the radar. Then for business types, there's the Microsoft-owned LinkedIn. Microsoft bought that a few years ago. We're still not sure why. So basically, LinkedIn has devolved into a platform where every idiot pyramid scheme salesperson on earth will try to sell you something. Usually see a message when you jump on like, oh, I specialize in maximizing customer value. Let's help us connect you with people who will buy your products. I'm telling you, it's awful. If you're not already Tony Robbins or Gary Vee, it's virtually impossible to build a social presence on LinkedIn at this point. Most of the posts are self-serving and boring. And Microsoft has a terrible newsfeed algorithm that seems to know exactly what you don't want to see and serves that junk to you in your feed. And it's usually not recent either. You'll usually see these posts 2 weeks after they've been originally posted. Yeah, honestly, I believe that LinkedIn probably has the single worst algorithm in the history of social media algorithms. So, in my opinion, skip it. You really don't need it. Dad, skip LinkedIn. You don't need this at all. Now, TikTok. What is this TikTok? This is the newest rage. It's a Chinese-owned social platform. Now they've got some American owners or something, but still China's running this thing, whatever you want to think about it. These are very young and narcissistic children who post videos of these, who are trying to copy these awful dance moves to try to gain followers. Yeah, you want to watch a bunch of kids who really can't, who shouldn't be dancing, dance on there and try to gain followers. Now TikTok, the reason they're so popular is because they're able to attach thousands of popular songs to user videos without the need to buy a license. It's really the only platform where you can do that. They give you a little clip of it and you can dance along to it, sing along, whatever you want to do. But they have access to these huge libraries of popular music, and that's why the kids love it. So if you're actually into the latest terrible mumble rap songs and watching your 12-year-old niece make a fool of herself trying to do the electric slide, you'll love TikTok. But there's no real useful information there. No breaking news, no market information. It's kind of stupid, really. Major media outlets are trying to create a presence there because they have to, but it's not really working. Not really working for them. You might want to sign up so you can follow your idiot children who don't call you anymore because they're glued to their TikTok accounts. YouTube, been around forever, owned by Google. It allows users to post and watch videos of about any length for free. I've seen 10-hour ASMR videos on there, or scenery videos that you just put on your TV like a moving painting, and those are pretty cool. Ads appear on the most popular videos, including this one, but you can subscribe to their premium service, which lets you skip ads if that really turns you off. You can subscribe to user channels and show your support or dismay with a thumbs up or a thumbs down on almost any video. Now, Google also has a secret algorithm that ranks videos based on likes, comments, the number of subscribers, and some other kind of secret sauce that floats some videos to the top of its search and buries most others. People who are good at it know how to float to the top. Other people, they end up at the bottom. So YouTube does offer millions of videos on just about everything. How to fix your plumbing, how to buy or fix a car. They offer sound effects, science, scenery, tourism, ASMR. What to do the day you get out of prison. Seriously, there are videos on just about everything. There are countless educational programs, tutoring, languages, and anything else you could think of that's probably already on YouTube. And there's new stuff that comes out daily. Always growing, always expanding. Now, to be honest, there's not much of a filter on YouTube. As long as your video isn't overtly obscene, doesn't have bad words in it, they can figure that out now. You can post just about anything out there. And since all it's really required is a free Gmail account to post content or a comment, it's frankly about as anonymous as Reddit for the most part. Now, Google has, in all fairness, they have recently tightened account requirements, but there are already millions of bogus accounts still in existence. You'll notice the comments on a lot of good videos are negative or just stupid. Some are kind of fun to read, but you're going to get a lot of trolling on YouTube as well. Finally, there's Facebook, and Pop, you know about Facebook. It's the multi-billion user platform that everyone uses whether they admit it or not. Great way to keep in touch with your friends and family. You actually, if you know what you're doing, you can lock it down so tightly now that only the people you choose can interact with you, and that's kind of cool. But virtually no one does that because it's hard to find, and honestly, it's an entertaining poop show. There's a lot of junk out there that's kind of fun to read. Facebook's really a great way to get your news for free online. I've been using it that way for years. Like every major news outlet has at least one account on Facebook. So you can get your sports, your politics, science, magazines, newspapers, cable news. You just simply like the page, and some of its posts will begin to show up on what's called a news feed automatically. So when you scroll down, you'll begin to see some of the posts there. Now Facebook, everything's about algorithms, right? Facebook has a weird algorithm as well. Chances are, even if you liked the same exact page as your best friend liked, you're going to see completely different posts than your friend will. Some will show up days later, some will show up weeks later, and some are completely hidden. Nobody knows why. It's weird, it's secret, and it is what it is. You can still see the post. If, say, you like the BBC News, and you click on BBC News, you'll see a feed of all the posts, including all the ones you missed. So you have to actively go out and search for it, rather than just waiting for, assuming that everything BBC News puts out is going to appear in your feed. It just doesn't happen that way. Now, Facebook does its best to verify users, newer users anyway, but people, they find ways around everything. So there's tons of fake accounts, and fake accounts lead to fake news, like real fake news, like Russian bots, actually little computers who post stuff with propaganda on them. They're pretty easy to spot if you know what you're looking for, but some people can't tell the difference. They do election interference, they do drop shipping scams, business scams, and a whole lot more. So what I'm trying to tell you, Pops, is it's definitely buyer beware on Facebook. So do your homework before you spend any of my inheritance or commit to anything on Facebook. Now, there are other social media platforms, but those are the biggies that everybody's talking about. Everything else is kind of smaller and fringe, and these are the ones that you want to be on because everybody you know is going to be on these things too. Now, since social media platforms are used by your peers, many are anonymous, and everyone is trying to separate you from your money. So use some critical thinking before you do anything or believe anything that you read. You'll learn who you can trust as you begin to experience the platforms. You'll begin to see the red flags and identify them. And if you don't like something on any social media platform, most of them give you the opportunity to unlike it, to hide it, or completely block it, and you'll never see it again. My Facebook block list is now over 1,400 people long at my last count. There's people who I think are complete idiots and I want nothing to do with them. I wish you could do that in real life. Don't you wish you could block somebody on the sidewalk and your stupid neighbors that are always talking this junk? It'd be really cool to block them and never see them again. Maybe someday, but last time I heard that was called murder, and you can't do that. It's not legal yet. So here's the skinny. People ask, who uses which platforms? So there really aren't any honest specs. They don't really release that information. You get kind of estimates, but here's my best guess based on my experience in using these things over the past 10 years or longer. So angry and anonymous, bullied smart kids between the ages of 18 to 35, you'll find a lot of those on Reddit. People who think they're important, aged 26 to 70, I guess, you're going to find them on Twitter. Kids trying to hide things from mom and dad, ages 12 to 18. Snapchat. Insecure people trying to prove they're sort of good looking, aged 12 to 39, boys and girls, Instagram. More insecure people who are so bored they want to watch idiots dance, aged about 10 to 24, TikTok. Broke ass salespeople trying to sell crap no one will buy, aged 25 to 45, LinkedIn. People looking for free ways to learn or to fix things, aged 10 to 80, YouTube. And angry and lonely people and grandparents aged 40 to 120, that's you, Pops, Facebook. So, Dad, you're on Facebook, stay there. You really don't have to move anywhere else. You're not missing anything anywhere else. All right, if you have any comments or your observations, put them in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and share. We can make more weird videos just like this one. For Computer Care, I'm Sid Rowe.